Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining back with us again. I hope you guys are all enjoying the conference so far. We've had some great speakers this morning and another one coming right up. I've been talking with Rhonda Curtis Waller. She is a writer, retired Air Force sergeant, and an instructional designer at Vibe Leadership Training. She does all types of human capital training and is very good at it because she loves it, which is the best kind of person to ever have as an instructional designer. Rhonda's mission is to teach and promote individual development in the areas of leadership and management, time management, customer service, and topics that serve to increase productivity and effectiveness of individuals and organizations. And today she's going to be presenting on regulation for ourselves. So take it away on it and good luck. Thank you.
Good luck. Don't scare me like that. Good morning, everybody. All right, I'm going to share my screen because we're about to talk about, let's see, share my screen. Let's see. All right, are you guys seeing my screen that says, can you regulate? I'm hoping it's good to go. Okay, I got an all thumbs up. I love this air meat, by the way. It's nice. It's very nice. Okay, so let me tell you the background of this. I am a huge Marvel Universe fan. Everything about it. I just love it. I know all the movies. I can probably tell you all the everything that's said in a movie. But this particular one, I think it was Iron Man 3. And the premise of it was there was this bad guy, and he invented some kind of treatment that was able to regenerate crippled limbs and things like that. But also, it gave the recipient superhuman strength. I just got to tell you this background so you get where I'm coming from with this. But there was a huge problem with it, and that was it was horribly unstable. So the treatment also made the person blow up. So it was something about the treatment that they received, their limbs were restored and things like that. But if they could not regulate their bodies, it would just take them out. It would blow up, and it would also take out anybody within like a mile radius of them. It was crazy. So the bad guys in the picture were asking the recipients of this thing, can you regulate? So meaning, can you keep your body straight while this is going on? So I looked at that as I was looking at that. I said, you know what, that's a really good question. Can you regulate? And we're talking about for what it really means is like, are you able to control or maintain a positive rate or speed of a process so that it'll operate efficiently or properly? Like, for instance, a speedometer or pressure, a pressure gauge for something that's happening. But for our purposes, we're going to talk about being able to adjust and maintain a positive speed of our minds and our will and emotions so that we can keep things pushing, keep going, keep operating in our workspace, at home, with our families, in a social setting, because things happen. Right now, I hope that we're at the end of a pandemic situation, but I'm not sure about that. Everybody still hearing me? Give me some thumbs up, please, because I don't want to keep it good. So we're talking about now. We're in situations where a lot of things are coming at us at once. So we have home. A lot of us are working from home. Some of us are back in the workplace, but we're needing to think about now pressures that come in, like, who am I? What do I do? Am I good at what I do? Am I prepared for what I can do? How am I positioned with the people that I work with my team at this particular moment? Am I a boss? Am I a team member? Am I a leader in my organization? Do I have authority? And how am I perceived? And the way that I'm perceived, is it genuine? So you're working with people every day, things come up, situations happen, and then we have to decide how we're going to react to any number of things. Let's take a for instance. Sometimes there's some trigger points that happen in our lives. So I'm calling this testers, triggers, and buttons, because you know the term, this thing pushes my button. And we're usually talking about something negative, a button push that is just not necessarily good. Like, for instance, if that young kid who just walked in the door of this organization, fresh out of college, if he speaks to me in short elementary style phrases as if I'm stupid one more time, I'm I may have to do something. You know, you could get in a situation and you see people are not responding to you properly, or they are making assumptions about who you are, what you know, or I don't know if you've been in that situation, but in the situations where I work, there are a lot of young people coming in from college. They get hired right out of school, and they're brilliant and they know things. And so now you've been here and you're doing what you do, and they may interact with you in a way that like it feels like they're questioning your ability to do whatever it is you do. That could be a trigger. And how am I going to respond to that? Another one. Um, how many times have I asked my team, please let me know if the client is having a problem? So I have a team of designers, industrial designers, functional designers, training designers, and they're dealing with the team, they're dealing with the client, and the client is not happy about something, but nobody informs me as the lead. Okay, there's an issue with this. I have asked them to please let me know immediately if something happens, and they didn't. Okay, what kind of response am I going to have to that? I'm not competing with that developer. Why is he so hostile? Have you been in situations where, okay, the people that you have to interact with, something's going on and they're not, responding to you properly? That is a button that could be pushed. How about this one? Why is Bill taking bows for work that I did? Now, if you've been in the workplace any amount of time, that can come up, especially when we work as a team, when we work as teams. Okay, I see some thumbs up for that. You know, if I'm in a situation, I tell you what, I had the pleasure of working with a team of people, and they were so magnanimous about saying, "Oh, that was Rhonda, or that was Cynthia, or that was Betty who did that." When somebody gets accolades for like, "Hey, this team really racked that one in. It's excellent," and then the people, or somebody could be congratulating the team lead on something, and the team lead would say, "Well, that really was Bill's work, or that really was Samantha's work." And that is such a great thing for a person to do, to say, let me give props to the person who actually did the work. But when that doesn't happen, you kind of stand there and go like, okay, are you going to say that I did that? Are you going to let the client know? Or maybe not the client, because you don't always, uh, you know, separate your team like that. But with the organization, are they going to say that I actually worked like a dog on that one and made it happen? And if they don't, it makes you go like, wow, okay, how about that? This one, if you're, oh, wait, you're a leader and everybody is looking at me for an answer, and I don't have a clue what's going on yet. Okay. But I'm in a position where people just look to me, they're expecting an answer. Yeah, yeah. I don't know yet. I don't know yet. And a lot of times you don't feel comfortable in saying, well, I'm not sure, or I have to get back to you. I have to come back to you on that. I don't really know. But that could be a button pusher. We're talking about things that bring up stressful emotions in you you're not ready for. Now, here's one of our favorite, because we have instructional designers here. How about this one? um, SME does not mean you're an expert in my field. Okay. You have subject matter experts. And I see some clapped hands on that one for sure, because you're working to develop training material or course material for something. You have to depend on the subject matter experts in that organization to let you know, okay, what are we trying to achieve here? They tell you what the end goal is, and we as instructional designers make that happen. But we have to have the information from the SME, the subject matter expert. But the subject matter expert starts turning to you to tell you how to do your actual develop your actual training, and you're like, dude, that's my area. You just answer these questions for me. So what I'm talking about here is things that could just push your buttons. And by the way, um, how about you stop walking around with all your buttons out here like this? Can you guys see me in the picture frame? Don't carry your buttons. You got your buttons. You got your buttons. You're walking with your buttons right out in front of you. Hey, anybody have a push? Push. Anybody want to? I say, listen. We start to identify. Okay, what are those buttons? And I'll give you a good example, a personal example. I realized that a time now I have taken authority over this, and I got this down packed now. But there was a time when I realized if I don't know the answers to something, or I'm with a group and everybody knows what's going on and I don't, I would be very oh God, what's the word? Aggressive. I would take it personally, and I just did not react well to not knowing the answer to something. I was aggressive. I was defensive is the word. And when I realized that about myself, okay, when you don't know something, you get defensive. That's a horrible way to be. But that's how I actually was operating until I realized that, you know what? If you don't know, you don't know. You can find out. So that is me identifying something in myself that was a trigger and it caused me to act a certain way. And this is the kind of thing that I'm trying to bring out for us. We know what things push our buttons or are a trigger for really kind of negative reactions from ourselves, and you got to identify them. Let me see, what is this here happening? Oh, and that's ugly. We didn't mean for that to happen. Okay. So, can you regulate? What we're asking is now, can you regulate your attitudes, emotions, and response to stress and difficulty? How am I dealing with that when things come up, and they are, especially in the climate that we've been in the last 2.5 years. Some of us don't know, okay, am I going back to work? Is the money going to keep coming in? Can I take care of what I need to take care of? These things were piling in on us all at some levels. And how are we reacting to that? Uh, how about the forward progress of our goals? We have a lot of goals that we've set for ourselves. And are we just dropping them because of the things that's happening around us? Or are we making a reset? These are things that we can decide to do for ourselves. The inner voice and motivation, despite all the negative outside influences. Now, a lot of this that I'm talking about has to do with our workspace, our work environment, and the things that we do to make us money, to make a living, and mostly for, I know for me, it's what I enjoy doing. I love doing what I do. But when there's negative influences happening or negative things happening, it can also make you kind of recoil and step back, not be so motivated to just go in and do the things that you love doing or that you know that you're called to do. So that inner voice, what is it saying to you? Is it are the things that's happening around you affecting your level of kindness and good humor and your hopefulness in the face of everything that's going on? you could get to where a little amount of bitterness is happening. You don't have a good sense of humor because there's too much stuff going on. It's kind of quelling your normal disposition. And that's because we let it, but it's not, something for us to feel ashamed of, because things happening on the outside that affect our uh, disposition, that's a reality. But what we're trying to do here is, let's make sure that we identify, wait, that's happening. And let me see if I could do something to not allow that to happen. Let me still continue to be kind, have a good humor, and be hopeful. I see things are going on around me. This negative thing happened, but I'm not going to let that overtake me. I'm going to regulate my inner voice, my level of kindness. I'm going to do that. And it is actually possible for us to do it. It's not easy, but it's possible. And lastly, that have another one on there. Yeah, a positive, the level of excellence in your life and work. And this can happen in our families, social circles, church, professional organizations. We kind of like, well, I'm not going to go that extra mile for this because I just don't feel like it. And nobody is expecting it anymore because everybody's in a place. But if you are who you are, you have to continue to say, okay, you know what? I always work at this level, and I'm going to continue to work at that level. Easy to say, not always easy to do. So I understand that this kind of stuff is happening for us. So how can we regulate? How can we make sure that uh, the things that are happening on the outside or triggers are not having the effect that they could have, that negative effect or anything to make us stop or hold back. Now, before I continue with this, I want to know, get in the chat, do you guys have an idea or have any experience with these things that I'm talking about? If you do, I'd like to see some of that information. Yeah, in the chat, I'm getting some thumbs up. Yeah, things are happening on the outside, and it's ticking me off. I'm trying to make sure I watch my language because I'm really a free person when it comes to saying things. But there's things that's happening around me. It's ticking me off. It's causing me not to operate at a peak level because I'm so busy dealing with the emotions of it. It's causing me stress. It's making me doubt myself. I'm deal. I'm more focused on dealing with a person who is giving me a problem than saying, okay, you know what? I'm just going to go right on past this and stay at my regular level of excellence. I'm not going to let that person or that situation derail me. It could be someone at work, a team member, your husband, sorry, your children, your family. They could say the wrong thing at the right time. They could react to you may share something that you feel is important, and their reaction to it is just like what I'm calling crazy. It doesn't make any sense. They're not supportive. And so, how am I going to react to that? Am I going to let their reaction to something I'm doing, or especially my hopes and good humor and kindness, am I going to let that quell what I normally do and how I act with people? This is something that we have. This is happening all the time around us, and we have to decide. Okay, that happened. Yeah, but I'm not going to just lose it because that happened. So how are we going to make those steps? Now, we got to, one, acknowledge that we know when it's time to regulate the emotions that could overwhelm us. And what I mean is this: you could feel yourself getting mad, or you could feel yourself getting disappointed. You could feel yourself, even now, depression is a real thing, but you could kind of feel it coming on. Now, I don't know if everybody is able to do that, but I'm just saying that certain, I'm saying the negative emotions, they start to creep up, and they can be identified. Um, uh, just like I said, that I realized that when I was not up to par understanding something or having answers, I realize I'm getting defensive. I'm getting defensive. Like if I know I don't know the answer, somebody asks me the question, instead of saying, yeah, I don't know, but I can find out. I could react like, what are you asking me that for? It could be, you could be just that defensive or hurt or whatever the situation is, that you don't even react well. But I realized that I said, I'm not going to do that. It's just a point that if I don't know, I don't know. I'll just admit I don't know and keep it pushing and maybe find out answers later. That's just one instance of it. But let's say, for instance, you're getting stressed out because you're starting to worry about your next gig. That's a real thing. Okay, this is my productivity, the money coming in, the new ideas that are coming in, things are starting to dwindle or quell a little bit, and you realize it. You could start getting really stressed out and scary about it. But when those feelings start coming, you could recognize them because it's happened before. And so when you feel those emotions starting to come up, then is when you have to deal with it. Now, how do you deal with that? Okay, first of all, let's say this little picture that I'm putting up here, to me, is scary. Can you see that? Well, it's kind of small, but it's a picture of the Statue of Liberty, and the water is up to her uh, chest, almost up to her shoulders. And I'm thinking, that's a scary picture, because sometimes that's how things happen in our life. We're going along, we're doing what we do, and then all of a sudden we realize, wow, this issue or problem, it's about to overtake me. It's almost right here. I'm holding my head up to keep from being overwhelmed. And when that happens, that's you recognizing, okay, I maybe need to step back and do some self-care. I heard on the last call, we were talking with the last session, we were talking with mothers and how they dealt with self-care. It is the same thing if you're not a mother. It's the same thing if you have adult children. It's the same thing if you have to deal with dealing with your elderly parents, or it's the same thing if you're just the head person on the job, you're the boss, you have to make things happen, and then all of a sudden you can feel overwhelmed. The things start to add up, and if you recognize that, then it's the time to say, okay, what am I going to do now? I'm going to identify this is happening and recognize it, and then I'm going to start doing whatever it is I do for self-care to help me not get overtaken with this feeling of crazy. I'm using that for one of a better word. And then the next thing that you can do is reject the effect. Excuse me. Now, I am not saying that you reject your own feelings. That's, just ridiculous. When you feel things come up, emotions happen, feelings start to overtake you, you don't reject the feelings, but you can reject the effect that those negative feelings could possibly or usually have on you. This is us saying that, you know what, I recognize this is happening. I've dealt with these feelings before, and previously, those feelings that come up just put me in bed. It just totally discombobulated me. It made me ineffective. I just started being negative. But now we've acknowledged that, okay, I see when that starts happening to me, this is what I usually do. But I'm going to reject that effect now. I'm not going to let that feeling overtake me. I'm not going to let this person's reaction to me make me feel less than. I've had a situation where I would say to a person, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And instead of asking me questions or encouraging me, they may start just to enumerate all the reasons why I can't do what I said I was going to do. Now, that happens. It depends on whether you're in a business with a team, or whether it's your family or a partner. and you can, say, hey, this is what I'm about to do. And instead of encouraging you, they just start bombarding you with reasons why you can't do that. That doesn't feel good. It does not. And some of us are able to say, well, that's what you think, and then keep it pushing. But not every that doesn't always happen. Sometimes people's reaction or to you, or your lack of encouragement to you, it can hurt, and it can also stifle your motivation. So what I'm saying is that once we realize, okay, this happens and it makes me feel this way and it's not good, when you realize that and recognize it, identify it, then you reject the emotion. You reject the effect of that specific situation happening to you. If it's negative and non productive, then you can reject it. You can literally say, now I'm telling you, I have a certain, spiritual life and way that I handle things. I literally say, I reject that. I reject that. I reject that feeling. I have been in a situation where I'm going along, everything's fine, and then I wake up one morning and I feel oppressed in some way. Like I don't, I just don't feel good. I don't feel that. It's a feeling or something like that. And I have literally say, no, I reject that. I'm going to move on and do what I normally do, or I start to do things that I know build up my uh, mind, will, and emotions. I start doing the things that build myself up. I read certain things. I listen to certain things. I go running. I go downstairs and get on the treadmill. I do the things that build me up at that time because I'm proactive about not allowing things to bombard me and overwhelm me. I got to do that. I'm an old lady and I'm not doing that anymore. I've already been there, done that, where I've allowed things to come in and stop me from moving. This next one, it's that's a picture of um, like the UPS thing where you when a package is delivered and you sign for it. Now this is just a term, and I hope you guys realize that what I'm saying, these are like principles that you could take on with recognizing when something is overwhelming you, reject the normal effect that it has on you, literally specifically decide, I'm not going to cooperate with that negative effect that usually happens. And this one is don't sign for it. Now I'll tell you what I mean about that. You thoughts start to come, or reactions to certain things start to come, and you can decide, you know what, I'm just not going to receive that. You can decide that, and you physically, specifically, emotionally, and physically decide, I am not going to receive the negativity that's coming my way. Now, if you understand what I mean by that, give me a finger. No, don't give me the finger, but give me the thumbs up. Yeah, you understand. Thank you. I'm so glad. It's just like we know in our lives as we're going along, the mind is the battlefield. Things come to your head, and you can either start meditating on this negativity, or you can just say, you know what, I'm not going to receive that. You can do that. And I told my grandson, uh, is in basketball, and he goes to a practice. Now he's pretty good. He's only 14, but he does this thing. He practices outside. He's very diligent about it. And so I went to pick him up from the practice once, and he said, Grandma, that's my grandma name with a G, W. He says, Grandma, I was awful. He says, it seems like every time I get there and we start shooting around, I look at everybody else and I just can't function. I start looking at everybody else and thinking about how they're better and everything. And I said, listen, don't receive that can you play basketball? Yes, ma'am. Are you good at it? Yes, ma'am. So you know that on the inside. So when those thoughts come, reject them. Don't sign for them. Don't receive that package. You literally have to speak to yourself and say, no, I reject that thought. I'm good at it. I can do it. And it may seem elementary, folks, but it's real. You do speak to yourself in terms of positivity and who you are, and telling yourself whether you're going to receive negativity and allow it to just take over and start diminishing you. I'm asking you, if you don't do this, you probably do because you're those type women. That's why you're in these sessions. But if you don't practice it, or if you dropped it, practice it again. If a negative thought comes, I am not good enough, I'm not doing a good job, reject that, because maybe you do need to improve in some areas, but there's no need to start piling on yourself. People will do that without your help. Don't pile on yourself. Reject feelings of negativity or a non-productiveness or just things that make you not feel good. And I am not talking about not being realistic about things that you need to improve. Now, we know that there's some areas, and I can do a better job of that. I can study that more. I can get more information about that. That we're not talking about things that you really actually can and need to improve on. You do that. But I'm talking about when it's a negative, we know the difference between helpful information for yourself and just negative information that beats you down. So we're going to do that. We want to start talking about emotions as not just emotions, inner reactions. So we know when it's time to regulate our inner reactions to the things that could try to overwhelm us. Sometimes when you say things in a different way. When I was an Air Force recruiter and I would sign people up, the time period for signing up to be in the Air Force was 4 years. And I would tell people it's 48 months because to me, 48 months sounded a little easier to take than 4 years. I mean, you reword things in the way that has to be true, but you reword them in the way that it makes better sense, is more positive for you. And that's why I'm saying regulate your inner reactions, because that's what it is. That's what emotions are. Inner reactions to things that happen on the outside. All right, I'm going to keep it pushing because we're doing good for the time. I think, you got to practice these things. Practice it. Just because you decide to take authority over your thoughts or not receive a package that's coming to you one time doesn't mean it's never going to happen again. It'll come back. It'll try to happen again. The same thought will come back again another time. And you could be like, oh, wow, I thought I dealt with that. Oh, well, I give up. No, you have to do it over and over and over, because practice makes perfect, not necessarily, but practice does make permanent. And I would say, have you guys heard that before? Practice makes permanent rather than practice makes perfect. Okay, I have one thumbs up, a couple. I started saying that a long time ago in some training, and I said, "Oh, that's neat." I did see it somewhere, but then I decided, let me look up who actually first said that. You should see how many people that it's attributed to. I don't know. I don't know who said it, but it makes good sense. Practice does make permanent. And then I also saw someone that said perfect practice makes perfect, and I understand that too. Point is, you gotta keep at it so that you begin to regulate yourself. People say about me, I'm just going, not that I just assume people say this about me. I've actually heard it, and I'm just going to decide that they do. I'm a strong person, and I don't fold easily. And I'm not easily embarrassed. And that sometimes makes me say things I really shouldn't say, but I learned to stop doing that. But I'm a strong person. I don't let things get to me. I have a really good foundation of strength, but that's through my spiritual life. Now, I'm not going to go into that, but I do. And it's because I have learned it and I practice and I put it into practice. So the things that I learn, I take heed to the things that I learn so that I won't let them slip. I practice it, and it's doable. You can kind of like, you, not kind of like, you can change the way that you present yourself to the outside and to yourself, actually. Okay, so what are these actions we're going to take? One of the actions, take authority. And take authority, I mean, over yourself. This is me, this is my life, this is my heart, this is my mind, this is my emotions, and I'm deciding I am not going to let these outside things press me. And they do. Stuff happens. I have adult children. I like to see everything go perfectly well for them all the time. And when it doesn't, it could bother me. That's the kind of thing that I have to start taking authority over myself. I'm saying, like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to worry. I'm going to give them what help I can, and I'm going to trust the process. I raised them well, and that's it. Praying for them, that's it. So that's how I take authority over myself. If worry or fear starts to get into my space, so you can take authority over the things over yourself. Now, you can't make other people do things. I wish so and so would act a certain way. I wish so and so would stop doing that. You have no authority over other people, but we certainly have authority over ourselves and how we react to things. That's what I'm talking about. That's a first action you can take. Another one is take responsibility. In some uh, avenues, or I don't know, organizations, I'm going to call them that for want of a better word, they believe that, like, if something bad happens to you, you pulled that in. I am not on that tip, folks. No, 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 no. I am talking about you take responsibility for yourself. You have the ability to respond to things. That's what I'm talking about. You have the ability to respond in every situation. So take it and practice it and decide ahead of time what it's going to be. I'm not saying that you sit down and think about all the crazy stuff that can happen. Make a list. No, don't do that. But I mean, when things cross your mind, you have to say, you know what, here's what I'm going to do if that happens, or take the responsibility. How you can respond. If you've responded poorly in the past, start now responding differently. That's what we are deciding that we're going to do. So we got responsibility. Take it. Another thing. Oh, metacognition. This is being aware of my own thought processes. So, this lady's meditating. I like that. And I like her hair. But just stop, take the time to, review yourself, review your lifestyle, review your life, the things that have been happening, and maybe examine, okay, why did I think that? Why did I do that? And start to be aware of your own processes. Again, I'll go back to when I said I realized that I was defensive when I didn't know stuff. That's me being aware. Okay, you know what? You don't need to do that. So stop. Uh, Being aware of how you react to things, just analyzing it a little bit. The things that have happened in the recent past. I had a situation where someone at work said something to me, and it just burnt me up. I was like, you know what? I'm glad that we're not in the office now because I would have done something special. Anyway, but I had to take a recognition and take a responsibility for how did I react? Did I do anything to cause that? Those kinds of things. We're going to start wrapping up pretty soon because we want to go on and start doing some question and answer if you have any. But you know what? This is quick. This is the last one. Speak up, but count to 10. Don't just blurt out your reactions to everything. Count to 10, maybe 20. It depends on what is it. Speak up for yourself, but take it slow. Think about what you're going to say first. And that is actually the end of what we're talking about. Listen, can you regulate? Can you be aware of how you're reacting to things that are around you? Any questions that you or comments that you'd like to make on what we just did? Anything? Rabina, you there? Let me see. Okay. There she is. Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Okay,
Okay.
hey,
Any
I thought
questions?
my screen was working. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of
What
the
advice can
internet.
you offer to individuals that struggle to identify
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So, what advice can you offer to individuals that struggle to identify their triggers? Because I've seen that.
That's a really good question. But you know what? A trusted
Mhm.
friend, but I mean close, trusted. And I'm
Okay.
talking about a person who never puts you out there, has your back, is honest with you. You could talk to someone who loves you and cares about you and demonstrates that. A lot of people love you but don't act properly as far as encouraging you. So
Mhm.
maybe you can do that, or just you're going to have to take some time and think back over things, especially the things like what made me angry.
Mhm.
Those are the things that you go like, oh, okay, what upset me? What caused me to be fearful? Those are the kinds of things that, yeah, that you look and say, you know what triggered, that's a trigger for me. If somebody says this about something, that makes me shrink back. That's one way. There's probably a lot of others. Anybody else have anything?
Yeah, if you have anything that you do either for yourself or people that you know and love, please enter
Hmm.
that in the chat. I would love to hear
Please.
how how others how others deal with this as well.
Journaling. Oh, yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
Journaling,
it's
yeah,
really
because
good.
one thing about journaling is that, and I've been journaling for years and I have them all. You can always look back at, things that you said, oh, that happened, that happened, that happened. Journaling is excellent. I like that idea. You had a
Mhm.
question. Yeah, that is an excellent idea. It can be very, very helpful. And counseling, absolutely. Yeah. If you realize you've taken on too much, can you? Heck yeah. Yes,
Mhm.
because it takes us to be, that's integrity to go back and say, you know what? I'm going to have to drop this, this, and this because I realize I've taken on too much. I want to do these three things over here very well. And I feel like if I take this on, I'm sorry I took it on, but I'm going to have to back. Yes, please be that transparent and authentic with yourself and others to say, okay, that A, B, and C is too much. And
Mhm.
listen, no is a full sentence. You can say no to things and you
I
don't
love that. I love that.
require an explanation. That we put that on ourselves. Well, let me explain because I had to. No, that's good. Counseling is excellent. More and more people are opening up to that these days, and I think it's a great thing. Just finding the right counselor is important. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a whole topic in and of itself. So,
yeah,
um,
exactly.
I just put a link since we're talking about counseling stuff. It
Good.
is mental care is something that is receiving elevation these days. Now
It
it's
is.
taking prominence and stuff. And yeah, if you
Mhm,
can't
mhm.
figure it out on your own, which I know there's so many people who just struggle with it. I struggle with that sometimes. I can't identify the trigger. I know I was upset, but I don't remember
Mm,
the trigger. I can't. It's hard. And then, yeah, you definitely want to go to somebody who's really loving and supporting, or think back, or journal back, or
mhm.
seek counseling if you do, because they'll help you also too, and that's what they're there for. And
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anything else? Where are we now, Rabina? Are we still on questions and comments?
We're finishing up now. I think it's at 11:45. Unless there's any other questions, please let us know. And then Rhonda said that she is going to stay after with us and have a seat at the lounge. So please join her in the lounge, and then just follow up with her privately if you have any questions. This was just such a resonating topic, and really wonderful tips and strategies that you shared with us. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it, and I hope everybody
Thank
else
you.
does also.
Yes, I love sharing that because it really is important. And I know how it is with us women who do it all. We need that. We need that information. You probably already knew most of it, but it's a good thing to be reminded.
It is. It is
Yeah,
all the time. Thank you so much. Thank you so much
you're
for being
welcome.
here. Enjoyed it. Thank you, guys.